Good morning, everybody. It is 10 a.m. We're going to call to order the Tuesday, July 6th meeting of the Board of Commissioners. If you would please rise at this time for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, we're going to be looking for the opportunity for public comment, and it looks like we have no public comment here with us today, and we look forward to enjoying the opportunity for members of our community to come in and offer public comment. We will avail folks to that opportunity as we go forward throughout the rest of the year and as we continue to do in-person meetings. So it's great to see everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Willow Bank. All right. Meeting minutes. We're going to look for a motion to approve those minutes from our June 29th meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from the June 29th Board of Commissioners meeting.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. All right, so with our presentation today, we are very pleased and excited and graciously have offered the opportunity for Fritz Smith, President and CEO of the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, to join us today. We're also joined by Leslie Kistner, the Public Affairs Director for the HVAB. We have some exciting news to announce and really want to let them shine the light on what they've been working on and how we're going to be, again, supercharging tourism here in Centre County. So without further ado, Fritz, good morning, and Leslie, good morning. We'll turn the floor over to you both.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chairman Pipe, and thank you, Commissioners Higgins and Dersham as well, for the opportunity to talk about the Happy Valley Adventures plans to revitalize the hospitality industry in Centre County and help jumpstart the economy and get it back into full gear. So Happy Valley is open is the headline. So we're here to talk about the opportunity to receive some of the American Rescue Plan funds to help support marketing efforts to try to attract visitors to Centre County. Okay. So this will foster the local economic recovery and help restore our hospitality industry and workforce. We think that a robust summer marketing campaign is necessary to bring visitors back and to drive visitor spending. Our businesses badly need it after the past year. This is a time when there is pent-up demand with visitation restrictions easing up all around the country and really all around the world. The game is back on. The game of destination marketing is back on. I just heard earlier today that Disney vacations are sold out through 2023. So you can see what kind of demand is out there. We pay attention to a lot of metrics in the tourism world, and the most recent surveys that we're seeing show that 87% of Americans are expected to travel in the next 6 months. So it's critical that Centre County get its share of those visitors. Okay. So not going to spend a lot of time dwelling on the negative, but we did just come through a difficult 15 months. We saw a drop of 1.3 million visitors from 2019 to 2020 and a loss of 500,000 overnight hotel stays, hotel revenue. The main funding source of the HVAB was down 71.6%. And even of those visitors who did come, the average daily rate for them during the past year was much lower. That makes it difficult for hotels to maintain employment and to keep up the capital expenditures and renovations that they need to do. Credit card spending is another metric that we pay a lot of attention to, and it was down 31% in 2020. So we believe that the overall visitor spending losses from 2019 to 2020 are $422.5 million. A lot of money, a lot of visitation and spending that didn't happen. Okay, and you can see that after a nice increase in 2019, and we were on pace to have a record year in 2020 for visitation, but we dropped pretty significantly. So it's time to turn that around. So let's talk about how one more metric. I talked about hotel revenue, and you can see how far it dropped in 2020. Just really devastating. So we're going to turn it around, and I want to give the commissioners and the public the opportunity to see and hear about some of the tactics that we're going to use. We have talked to over 18 advertising and marketing outlets. We estimate this number I apologize, from the time that we created this presentation, we've already upped this to 25 million estimated impressions. So that's actually a much higher number now. It'll be a combination of television, digital, video, programmatic, native, social, billboards, digital outdoor, print, and broadcast advertising. And, when we were, I just wanted to talk about the impact on our marketing plans that this grant will have. Prior to the discussions, prior to the commissioners reaching out to us and making us aware of the potential opportunity to spend American Rescue Plan funds, we were planning at the HVB to spend about $50,000 to launch a marketing campaign for the summer. So that was the capacity that we had based on the room tax revenue coming in. And at that point, when you ask what's the big difference that this is going to make for us, I think it's going to, two categories in particular: television advertising. It's going to give us an opportunity to do, which we would not have been able to do at the lower budget, and also a lot more digital advertising. But go ahead to the next page, Leslie. This gives you an overview of the metrics. You can see that television, as I just mentioned, is going to be the biggest portion of spend, and digital advertising the second. But it's also going to have components of video, social, print, and radio. And this is going to cover all of Pennsylvania. So we really believe that it's time to compete robustly within Pennsylvania to get it's perfect for the drive market. Philadelphia, Scranton, Erie, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Lancaster area, good feeder markets for us. Okay. This just gives you a sense of the many outlets that we're using. You see up in the left-hand corner, Pennsylvania, Pursue Your Happiness, the state tourism slogan. We're availing ourselves of a very good cooperative marketing campaign that the Pennsylvania State Tourism Office offers. And then you see a mix of local and regional and big market sources. And then Travel Zoo, well, we have a big campaign that we just launched with them. Expedia has been a major source of room nights. We've had programs that with them for the last 2.5 years that have generated very substantial return on investment. Generated thousands and thousands of additional hotel rooms through Expedia. And then down in the right-hand corner, you see NBC Universal in Philadelphia. So they are the official broadcast partner for the Olympics. So we're going to be running our commercials during Olympic spots, during Olympic coverage. So the Philadelphia market will have many more eyeballs glued to the television sets than usual. And then down at the bottom, WPXI is the NBC outlet in Pittsburgh, big feeder market for us as well. And also running ads in WTAJ right now. Okay, and then, so what's the message? What are the communication pillars of the campaign? What are the assets that we're talking to them about? The outdoors leads the pack. I mean, that is, even during the pandemic, people were coming to enjoy the outdoor assets here because it's healthy. Outdoor recreation all over the United States was the way that people were getting away and trying to keep themselves sane by going hiking and camping and so forth. And we've got those assets here. Our state parks really had a record year last year. It was one of the few segments that didn't suffer. So that's the lead. History, Field to Fork, ag tourism, sports. We were pleased to see the Spikes on Sunday night, July 4th, had their all-time biggest crowd, 7,100 people. Beat the record by over 1,000. So I'm hoping that that's the beginning of some great attendance numbers at the Spikes games. Small town charm, art and culture. Lots of great new restaurants. Our performing arts venues are back in business. Our music scene is back. We supported them, some of those musical acts and performing arts venues, with the grant program that we administer with the county commissioners. So these are the leading messages, okay? And here's an example of one of our print ads. This ran in Philadelphia Magazine, and it's some say that maybe that's a little wordy, but there's a lot to say about Happy Valley and all of the activities that you can engage in here. And of course, the call to action is always go to happyvalley.com, or the HVAB's website. All right, and then these are images. If you'll recall, when I was here in front of you, I guess almost 3 years ago, trying to make the case for increasing the room tax from 2.5% to 5%. And I said, when you asked me what I'd do with it, I said the first things that we would do was create a new marketing campaign, hire an ad agency. After a competitive process, we did one, and they created a lot of good ads for us, a lot of good marketing themes. And we rebranded the organization, renamed it the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, and we're about to launch an over $1 million campaign, and then COVID hit. So the good thing is we've still got that creative on the shelf. Much of it is here, so you're going to see this creative in the majority of the digital and social advertising and print advertising that we run. Okay. And then we're going to take advantage of a moving billboard right here in our own backyard. We've got Fullington Trailways, great company in our industry, the motor coach industry. Jennifer Corman, one of the principals of the organization, is on the board at the HVAB. And we're going to use those Fullington Trailways buses to wrap them and put a Happy Valley message on them with some of that great imaging that was developed for our campaign. And we're going to start with 2 buses that make daily runs to New York City and to Pittsburgh. We're hopeful, if the commissioners believe that our campaign is successful, we're hoping to expand this initiative to runs to another couple of buses that make runs to Philadelphia and to the Harrisburg market. So we also, when we developed our campaign, we developed a series of 30 and 15-second commercials. I'm not going to take the chance here to try to try to show them, but many of you have seen them before. They're very lighthearted ads that show the agents, our happiness agents that write tickets to families that aren't having fun and tell them they're writing them a ticket for a trip to Happy Valley. So you see a lot of our great venues and tourism attractions here in Center County in these ads, and some of these are actually already running in the Philadelphia market and here on WTHA. Okay.
Fritz, didn't the family we hired to be the actors and actresses say they loved it so much they would kind of come back on their own dime?
They've come back a couple of times already with their families, yes. All right, so you want to know what should you expect for this, and I know that the commissioners believe very, very strongly in accountability, as do I. So we have 7 major goals that we want to achieve with this campaign. Goal number 1 is increase visitation both during the week and weekend to recover the loss of revenue from business meetings. One of the challenges for the hospitality industry or the travel and tourism industry right now is that the meetings side of this, of the business, really has not come back yet. Right now, companies, organizations are not very comfortable sending their employees on the road just yet. It also takes a lot of lead time to plan meetings. So you really have to hang your hat on the leisure traveler right now. And we're actually starting to do quite well on the weekends already. As I said, that pent-up demand, we've got a healthy sports market right now. We've got a couple of fairly new sports facilities that are generating a lot of basketball and amateur sports in basketball, wrestling, volleyball. So we're doing quite well on the weekends right now. We need some business during the week. And I'll tell you why that's also important. You're hearing now a lot about the employment shortage. You're hearing about, we've gone from a situation just a few short months ago where a lot of people in this industry were unemployed to now businesses having a hard time attracting employees rather. But part of the challenge for some of our businesses is that they're very busy on the weekends and need people, but they're not so busy during the week. And so it's hard to offer a job to somebody who's looking for full-time employment when they would like to be working 4 or 5 days a week, but the hotels don't have quite enough business right now during the midweek to do that. So a lot of our messaging is going to be about why not come visit when there's not so many people here, things are affordable, the restaurants will be delighted to see you. So that'll be one of the measurements, is how can we raise the visitation level during the midweek. Stimulate more than 3,000 additional room nights in Center County lodging facilities. That's including bed and breakfasts and Airbnb. That would be a healthy increase. Okay. Provide more than 10,000 new referrals to HVAB member businesses from happyvalley.com as a result of advertising to our site. Stimulate an additional 350,000 additional page views to happyvalley.com. That would be a significant increase. Our web page views went down significantly last year. So this is, it's critical. I mean, the website is now your key marketing vehicle. So this is really, this is key. Restore the hospitality jobs lost during the pandemic to match the demand of increased visitation. At the peak out of the roughly 5,400 people employed in the hospitality industry in Center County, at the peak of the pandemic, about 1,800 of those people were out of work. We've brought well over half those people back, but I'd really like to see us get back to full employment in that sector. And generate 15,000 new person visits to Center County. So those are goals that are I think both achievable and measurable. And again, we think on behalf of the board of directors and the 350 some member organizations of the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, we want to thank the commissioners for the opportunity to come and talk about what we'd like to do. We're always evaluating new tactics, so there may be some that get added to this, but this is the bulk of the activity that we anticipate. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Fritz. Thank you, Leslie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, please. Oh, no, please. Please.
Got the last. This is the big one. Generate $25 million in additional visitor spending. Yeah, we think this $250,000 will leverage $25 million in spending, and believe that it will even have a positive return on investment for tax revenue.
One of the things you said in there, Fritz, was we were about $900 million in tourism spending year over year, approaching $1 billion. I mean, I think we were going to get to $1 billion without the pandemic. And so it's really a question of how long is it going to take us to get back there. And so with this today and the work that's going to be done to, again, advertise and, again, using that term, supercharge the tourism economy here, this really allows us to get to that $1 billion of tourism spend, get to that benchmark a lot sooner. And, we know football's coming back. That's music to everybody's ears. But we need to do something this summer. And this positions us, like you said, just gets us right out in front, allows us to compete for those folks who are ready to travel again and get out. And so you hit the nail on the head on so many points. But no, we're talking about $250,000 today. But I think that if you see success with the data, I think we'll have another conversation about how we can, again, help that to keep going strong as we go into August and beyond. So,
we would welcome that conversation.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for coming, Fritz and Leslie. I also serve on the board of the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, and was very supportive of this idea. And in fact, we were one of the first counties in the nation to offer this type of funding. This is the County News, which is the newsletter for the county commissioners nationwide. Tens of thousands of people get this every week. And we were one of the front page articles on June 14th. And then we were the entire page 3. And here in the lower corner is the only picture they ran, which is the picture of the Arts Festival here in Center County. So hopefully that'll generate some additional room nights next year around this time.
Yeah, and I can tell you that that article, Commissioner Higgins, generated a lot of jealousy among my colleagues around the state because they called me and said, well, how did that happen? And why doesn't it happen for me? So we appreciate your support, and Commissioner Higgins, indeed, not only as part of this conversation, but you've supported us for stimulus funds from previous pots of money that have come in, and that has helped us to be able to survive. And, just keeping the doors open during the pandemic was a challenge, and so the support that you provided was very much appreciated.
Thanks, Fritz. Yeah, the amazing experiences we have here in the summer. We have a lot of the best of the East Coast in terms of fly fishing, kayaking, ATV and motorcycle touring, road biking, mountain biking, gravel biking. And we have, as we talked about, our city, State College, our towns in Phillipsburg and Bellefonte, all of our villages, our mountains, our valleys, unique experiences, just a couple-hour drive from some of the biggest markets on the East Coast. And of course, our unique small businesses, restaurants, hotels, B&Bs, the arts, the history, cultural attractions, and some of my favorites, the craft breweries, distilleries, wineries, and cideries, all of which you could practically throw a rock at from where we're sitting here in Bellefonte. So yes, we invite everybody from throughout the United States to come visit and have a great time. Steve?
I think when we began the conversation about this funding, I really do believe that one of the things that I thought of, and particularly as a business person, is you can't go from 0 to 60 in no time at all. And this gives the hospitality industry, a lot of other folks in the community, a chance to ramp up for what we know is going to come back as a strong football season, a strong fall. And I think it's the opportunity for those folks to kind of get back into the business. And I think, going back to your employment numbers, I think it really is important that we ramp those up, and so we are ready for September, so we don't hit the first football game and you realize, oh, we're still down 25% in our employment needs. So I think this is an opportunity for those folks to get back in the hospitality business again and get things moving, and I think it's an opportunity for us to support that. And to both my colleagues' points earlier, I think we have so much to offer here. We need to get back and get this moving. And I think there's so many good things that Center County can now offer and advertise. So, and I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you, Commissioner Dersham. And you raise a good point there about the employment and ramping it up slowly, because, one of the unfortunate effects of the pandemic was that many of the people who worked in the hospitality industry, particularly at entry-level jobs, have walked away from it. They've looked to other industries to make their living. And so trying to bring those people back and convince them that, look, this was a once in a 100-year event, and we hope, and this industry is going to get back to being a reliable employer and a great way to make a living and to rise up and live the American dream. So we think that this sort of interim step, as you've characterized it, is logical, and it helps us ramp up and get ready for the fall season. So thank you all very much, and thanks for the opportunity to present to you.
Absolutely. We'll close it by saying that what we did was we had a work session a few weeks ago to greenlight the funding, and so Fritz and the rest, and Leslie and the rest of the team could start to work on it, and they presented a really great strategy today. And so what we're doing is our due diligence to live up to the metrics and the requirements that are in the American Rescue Plan and get an agreement ironed out. But we're working on that. We're going to get it finished, and once we do, we can enter into that agreement and finalize that, and then make sure that we're getting the money over to you. But again, we're working on that, and I don't know if we have any update on the timeline for that, or maybe some of the things that we still need to do. But again, we're going to be reaching out and working on that in the next few days here. So we thank you, Fritz. This is really important, and I don't know if there's anything else to share. Margaret, I know we have Kim today with us, or okay.
We will know later today what the timeframe looks like. We'll be back in touch with you.
Okay.
ASAP.
Great.
Thanks so much.
I don't know if there's any.
Yeah, Gary,
I'm
please,
sorry,
please, Gary.
Sure.
Are you seeing reservations coming in for business conferences in the fall and winter? There's been some concern that folks have been on Zoom for a year And is the business conference business going to return?
It will eventually. To your question about whether that we're seeing much activity in terms of reservations, we're still not, unfortunately. And that's why, that again is why this is critical that we jumpstart the leisure. We're going to have to compensate for it with leisure travelers and try to attract even more than we usually get. I think the best guess for conference activity resuming is 2022.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you again, Fritz.
Okay,
Thank
sure
you.
thing.
Thank you, you bet. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again, Fritz.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to move into our grants section and welcome up Natalie, and she'll also be presenting on some contracts. So, good morning, Natalie. Hello.
Morning. So, I know I have a couple of items for the board this morning. So, first up is an exciting opportunity for us. I had previously come to the board in early May when our State Office of Mental Health and Substance Abuse released a grant funding opportunity. It's through what we call Community Mental Health Service Block Grant. And they specifically put out a notice to counties to submit a letter of intent to primarily do crisis services enhancements. So it was a variety of service enhancements that you could do to your crisis system. And so with the support of the board, we put in 2 letters of intent. In total, I believe the state had about, I think it was about $30 million that they had to spend on this. I believe they received applications for $39 million. And we are lucky today, as you will see on our agenda, that we have been granted the opportunity to fully apply for funding that totals $3,850,000. And so I'm going to talk to you about each of those little bit of applications today. And then they are due to the state Monday, July 12th, but we will have ours in probably by Friday, just to be safe. So as we know, crisis services has been a discussion ongoing in our community for years, but in particularly the last 2 years as we talked about our crisis services, the forming of the mental health task force through the partnership of the borough and the county, within our own advisory board, within our own provider system, crisis services have been a big topic. And so the work that we've done over the last 2 years put us in the position to apply for what we are doing today. We were able to respond quickly, have a plan, have a budget, and that shows today. So the first application is for $850,000, and that will provide the expansion of mobile crisis intervention services. And what that really is with our provider, Center for Community Resources, as you know, a newer provider for us in the county, we will be embarking on a 2-year plan, all this funding is for 2 years, to enhance our mobile service. So what that means is having an individual who is ready to respond in the community as needed, whether that's a request from law enforcement, whether that's a request from an individual themselves, our school districts, whether it's the emergency department, whatever the case might be, we have seen a need to enhance that staffing level. So we are quicker to respond, whether that's 30 minutes within Center Region, 45 outside. We want to be responsive. And often we bill for this service, and so staffing it is really based on that. This funding allows us to flat have staff available. And so we would be looking, I want to make sure I get these numbers right because staff will do this. By the end of this calendar year, we will secure 7 mobile crisis workers full-time, and we are also looking to provide 3 certified peer specialists to also be available for crisis calls. And so that's unique to us. It's not a service that we had provided before, but we really see the need to promote peer services, especially for people in crisis, often for the first time they are in crisis. So these staff will really be able to respond, again, through the work of CIT and our law enforcement, to respond out and to do it. It addresses some of the recommendations in the task force list that we received. And while not a co-responder model, as I know a lot of people will ask, there's a lot of varying models of co-responder. We absolutely see this as a partnership with our law enforcement that they are excited to do. So the funding for that is $850,000 to provide the full-time staff. So it's not concerned about billing the time as much as we have the staff to be able to respond. So then the second one is particular, this is our larger one, as you can tell by the amount, it's $3 million. So what this is this has been similar to what we did 2 years ago when we put out our bid for our crisis residential services in the walk-in center. At the time we did that, we had no providers bid on that service. When we put it to the public, we got our walk-in center, which, as you know, is located in State College. And so we've never really let go of that dream to have a residential service and a respite service in our community. And what we've really seen over the last year, 18 months, has been our residential program run by Community Services Group in State College be used more as a short-term residential for individuals. Often it's diversion to state hospital, diversion to another facility, but people aren't staying for the typical 1 to 2 years we did. And so with that data, we decided to support an idea to convert that home into a crisis diversion program. What that means is it's threefold, right? We will have evaluations done on site. So we are partnering with Oasis Life Care to have the psychiatric service to be able to do on-site evaluations similar to the walk-in center, but more enhanced there. We can also do very short-term 1 to 7 day stays at the home. So if an individual doesn't need the medical care, the level of hospitalization, but obviously is in a crisis, might not be able to go home for the first 24 hours, we can provide that. And then 1 bed that would be for somebody a little bit more transitional, maybe 45 days. It could be a variety of different scenarios I can talk about that we would do this. So this is really Community Service Group, Center for Community Resources, and Oasis Life Care all coming together as partners and saying, we think we can each do our piece of this puzzle to enhance it. And then the final one is crisis transportation. We know that transportation will be a part of this and a need for this, whether it's law enforcement bringing them to our site, and because they might not need an emergency department evaluation. Transportation we know is part of it, so we'll be further enhancing that, which is another recommendation that was in the task force particularly. We would also look at this as be a lot of aftercare connection. So someone in crisis rate needing to have that outpatient appointment with Oasis Life Care, doing that, we could get some timely aftercare support as well. And so that funding really is for the home. It's for additional staffing. It's for additional psychiatric time at Oasis Life Care, additional crisis staff. It is a large budget to reflect that. Again, we're doing this for 2 years without the pressure of the Medicaid billing and the insurance billing that we often do with our services. This allows us to really see the need. It'll allow law enforcement to bring people there, families to bring people there. It's an enhancement. I keep saying that word, but we really talked about that a lot during our task force. It's an enhancement of our services. And it's another avenue for people who are in crisis to get immediate help. And so we have combined all those efforts together, and graciously, with the OMSAS having this opportunity for us to fund it, we have responded quickly. Michelle Henry, who's the Assistant Administrator in Mental Health, really spearheaded this. She's been working with our CRR providers over the last year to talk about how we could further do the residential piece than we already do, and this was really where they landed, and we are pleased by it, and we are hopeful, but we believe as long as our application meets all the financial budget and program explanations that we will be awarded this funding for the next 2 years. So that was my long-winded explanation of these grants. Again, we've talked about it at our advisory board. We, as you know, are in that technical assistance grant with SAMHSA for crisis. So it's been a really great learning opportunity for us to learn about programs that provide residential care throughout the country. We've sat in on webinars. Georgia, New York, Texas. You know, we've sat in and learned about programs throughout the country, which was part of us being on that technical assistance grant. But this came together, you know, very quickly. It's been 6-7 weeks that we've had to put this together because of the funding opportunity. But we think we're poised. There's a lot of outcomes you have to do. There's data, there's performances that they measure in this grant. So all of that's great for us to be able to talk to the community as we progress with this service. Those were really important data collection, things like that are built into this grant as well.
Thank you, Natalie.
Sure.
$3.8 million is specifically for crisis services, evaluations, and short-term, long-term bed stays locally is a big deal. It's huge. And so it really will go to enhance the services that are provided currently. So something really to be proud of in you and your team and everybody in the community have come together to show the need and put this into play. So it'll be a lot of work, but this is really going to make a difference. So thank you. Thanks for the presentation. Very helpful to understand the ins and outs of it. Thank you. Yeah, any other?
Great staff work, Natalie. We saw it with the hospitality grant. We were one of the first 4 counties in the nation to have a grant from the American Rescue Plan funds. And now, if I heard you correctly, we're applying for $3.8 million in 2 different programs. Had to have been a lot of work to fill out those grants, but they've only received something like you said, $38 or $39 million of requests, and it's funded to $28 million. That's a much better ratio than we're normally looking at.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that, and great job. Thanks.
Go get them. Sounds great. Great presentation. by the
Thank
way.
you. I will add one more thing. While it's not on the agenda for us to be approved for, as you know, last year, 2019, right, when our crisis provider ended our contract, Center for Community Resources came on board, and 7 other counties all went with Center for Community Resources to do our crisis services across the Commonwealth. And so through our Behavioral Health Alliance of Rural Pennsylvania, BHARP, they applied for counties together applied for about $30,000 to enhance advertising for texting and chat services that CCR provides. We have those services, they do it, but they want to enhance advertisement for those services. So while we are not the grant, we're not doing that grant, we will benefit from that because we are in that 8-county advertisement opportunity. And so one more way that this funding is helping our community through a partnership with our other counties to make sure that people know how to reach out for crisis in whatever technology way they want to. And so we will see some enhanced advertisements for those services. So just thought I would add that to it, Dan.
No, again, fantastic news. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you. Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, we look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the submission of 2 Community and Mental Health Services block grant applications to the Office of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
I will second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, and then we'll go into the contract section.
Sure. So these are actually easy because it's Eagle Valley Personal Care Home, Eagle View Personal Care Home, and Eagle Ridge Personal Care Home. As you know, we have a partnership with the owners of really Eagle Valley Personal Care Home who have provided us with additional housing support and supportive housing opportunities in the Milesburg area. And they have been great opportunities for individuals, whether they would leave Danville State Hospital, divert. They're just really great supportive housing programs that we have developed with the owners. And so these are just finishing out our fiscal year and providing additional residential funding that we had this year to be able to meet the true need that each of the services costed both the provider and ourselves to do these services. So you'll see an additional $44,000, an additional $3,000, an additional $1,000 just to be able to support them.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. Any questions on the additional $48,000 spread over the 3 contracts? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve the MHID EI items 1 through 3.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Okay. And then we have
Okay.
looks like we have one final one. Would that be for you, or do you want us to?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Sorry, it's okay.
I'm on a roll. So this is for our early intervention office. Yes. This is our Medicaid waiver operating agreement. This is through Department of Public Welfare, the Office of Child Development and Early Learning, and then our office. It's for our Medicaid waiver. It outlines our responsibilities for the Medicaid billing that we do for our early intervention services, particularly our supports coordination staff that link people to the service of early intervention in our community and families that have Medicaid. And so this is a no-cost agreement. It just outlines all of our responsibilities for the next year.
Thank you, Natalie. Any questions on this, comments? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to add the ITF Medicaid waiver operating agreement to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Thank you again, Natalie.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to welcome up Kristen to discuss a contract with the Archer Company. Good morning, Kristen.
Morning, thank you. I'm here regarding a salary survey, compensation and classification survey, and study to be done by the Archer Company. We have not had one of these done in over a decade here at the county. We have piecemealed some departments trying to adjust salaries, but we feel it's time for a total view of everyone, comparison across departments of positions to possibly adjust our starting rates, hourly rates for our employees to get them to where we really feel they need to be. I don't know if you have any questions about it.
Yeah, and Margaret, I think, might have some other, yeah.
Just add on that the contract with the Archer Company has been reviewed by our solicitor, and she would recommend your approval.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. We had discussed prior to the pandemic looking into this, and so obviously the pandemic had affected our ability to do this in a way that we felt was going to be beneficial. And now that we're coming out of the pandemic, we think the time frame, I'll say, that they put together over the next several months as we lead into the 2020 budget will allow us to really do a thorough look at, the classifications, compensation. I think it'll be well done, and they've got great experience across the board in other states and here in Pennsylvania with other counties. So it should be a very illuminating and interesting, and look forward to seeing the results of it. So, yeah, thank you, Kristen. Any other comments or
Yeah,
questions?
great job with the request for proposal, Kristen. We had, I think it was 4 companies apply, and they all specialize in counties, municipalities, and state governments. So they're very well recognized, very experienced at this.
It'll take a lot of cooperation from our department heads and a lot of the line supervisors to make sure that they have the data and the information that's accurate to make the decisions that are going to have to be reviewed.
Okay, so hearing no further discussion, we'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve the contract with the Archer Company.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll welcome up Carrie next. Hi, Carrie.
Good morning. Come before the board today to request renewal of a one-year contract with Tracy Small as an independent contractor. Tracy is our CIT coordinator and has been for many years. Funds to support this contract consist of local contributions from the 6 municipal police departments and then Human Services block grant funds that Natalie so graciously offers up to help support that program. Tracy does more than just our CIT program. She's also involved in other mental health related areas. She sat on the mental health task force, I believe, attended those meetings, and then helps with the technical assistance grant that Natalie mentioned with SAMHSA. Just last month, I think all 4 of us were in attendance at the CIT graduation. That was the 20th class to graduate Center County CIT, and that brings our number up to 385 folks trained in CIT. So it's an invaluable position that we have with Tracy, and I'd like to recommend approving a continuation of her contract in the amount of $34,324.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. Any questions, comments, feedback?
Tracy does a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, we look for the motion to add it to next week's consent agenda.
Motion to add the contract renewal with Tracy Small to next week's consent agenda.
Happily seconded.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Questions? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Thank you,
Thank
Carrie.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, for a contract renewal with Breon, we will welcome up Norm. Good morning, Norm.
Good morning. This is an annual contract renewal with Breons Incorporated out of Pleasant Gap to provide important generator maintenance for all of our tower sites. Total contract is $13,473.76, and it's also eligible for PEMA funding.
Thank you, Norm. Straightforward, but important to keep us running in case of anything occurs. Any questions for Norm? Questions, comments? No? Okay, all right. We look for a motion. Okay.
Motion to add the contract renewal with Breons Incorporated to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion, final discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Thank you,
Thanks,
Norm. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Hopefully you don't need that contract.
That's right, that's right. And Chad, we'll welcome you up and talk about a quote from O'Neill Software.
Good morning, thank you. Today I have a contract request for an increase for O'Neill. Our current contract allows for 25,000 record entry. We are nearing the limit on that, so this would bump that up to 30,000 entries. There is a one-time expansion cost of $1,833.50, and then there will be an ongoing annual increase of our current contract of $385.04.
Okay, thank you, Chad. And this is just for, looks like till the end of October, or middle of October, and then we'll go.
Yeah, the middle of October is our annual
Gotcha,
renewal
okay.
of the O'Neill software.
This is the remainder of this year's contract. Okay, all right. Will there be a motion?
Motion to add the quote from O'Neill Software to next week's consent agenda.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion has carried. Thank you, Chad, very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Okay. We have today's consent agenda in front of us. Is there a motion to approve it?
Motion to approve this week's consent agenda.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any questions, comments on the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of approving it say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion has carried. Okay. All right. And we will turn it over to Margaret for any updates, announcements, and reports. Good morning, Margaret.
Just want to confirm for you all that all county office buildings are open to the public as of 8:30 this morning. At the risk of stating the obvious, it's been a really long haul, about 15 months of trying to perform the work of county government, county services in a lot of different ways. I think that the staff have accomplished that, and very appreciative of all the extra work that they've gone through to be able to deliver services in less than optimal ways. But we are very excited to be back this morning and have the public have free and unfettered access to our buildings. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Margaret. Yeah, if you want to stop in and have a cup of coffee with any of the commissioners, we'd be happy to sit down in our office and chat with you. So we're open, so thank you all. All right, we have no discussion items today. We do have a check run, Commissioner Higgins.
Sure. We have a check run in the amount of $705,199.97, about half of the average size. The check of the week is to UPMC Home Healthcare of Center County for early intervention coaching. We mentioned the early intervention earlier. That's where the county provides services to children between the ages of just born and roughly 4 years old. So I would like to make the motion to approve the check run dated July 2nd.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the check run. Any final discussion on the check run? Questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion has carried. Okay, and we'll turn it over to Commissioner Dershowitz.
All right, we have a voter registration report this morning. We have 104,930 registered voters in Center County. We have, excuse me, the roster includes 44,050 Democratic voters, 136 Green Party, 687 Libertarian, 13,936 no affiliation, and 42,256 Republicans. When added to with the 3,865 smaller parties, we get the total of 104,930. To highlight some of those minor parties, I would like to highlight the Open Party this morning. The Open Party has one registered voter, so I guess they're open for offers at this point for more registrants. The precinct highlight today is State College East 3, precinct number 26, which votes at the Friends Meeting House on Prospect Avenue. In the primary, they had 2,645 total registrations. There was 101 ballots cast, which led to a turnout percentage of 3.82%. As you might guess, it's heavily a student precinct, and there weren't a lot of students around for that election. The folks that made it happen, the judge of elections is Rick Gilmore. The minority inspector is Edward Henry. The majority inspector is Gabe Collar. And the clerks include Andrew Jackson and Ann Van Kuren. So that is what we have for a report for you this morning.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Any executive sessions for us to report, Margaret?
No executive sessions to report today.
Okay, all right. All right, we have the balance of our schedule here. We will be holding a work session in the same room at 11 o'clock to do a deeper dive into the American Rescue Plan. And we, let's see, nothing to announce from elections, no real big things coming up, but Gary, we'll offer the opportunity for any questions.
It's continued the free COVID testing service in Center County?
The Department of Health has agreed to extend the COVID testing center at the Center County Recycling Center starting today through the end of July. So there is a 1-month extension. Yeah, another month. Same days, same hours, just an additional extension.
The salary review, will that include court
Yes.
employees?
Yes, it'll be any Center County government employee. Yes.
How many employees ballpark now for the county?
Sure, about 570-ish, 580-ish, yeah, about. Mix of full-time, part-time, yep.
As you reopen, are there any offices or whatever that have lost employees? You know, we hear about private sector and they're trying to hire whatever. How's the county staffing?
We were only, there were 2 employees that we were not able to, or positions, we should be specific, positions that we weren't able to carry over into the 2021 budget. We're already halfway through, but 2021. Other than that, and they were offered, you know, there were job openings that we had in other offices that we alerted them to and encouraged them to apply for, but they were very specialized in certain areas. But no, other than that, every office has been back to full complement and hiring. We're also hiring and open for applicants, for sure.
Your next meeting says facilities? Coming up at 11.
Facilities. We have a work session on the American Rescue Plan just to talk. That's right, an update on facilities, our facilities department. So to talk a little bit about capital improvements and, yeah, other projects. Yeah.
Section 11 is the
Yeah.
American Plan, and this afternoon at 1, I believe.
1 o'clock.
Update on facilities.
Where do you stand on American Rescue Plan in terms of?
How soon do you expect to start? The first bunch of money, you had to have it done by what, end of the year, whatever? You have a longer time span, right?
No, yeah, the last year CARES Act was about 6 months, about 15 million, and we really needed to get that out the door. We have until the end of 2024 to authorize the money, to say where we want to spend it, and then by 2026, the end of 2026, we actually have to spend the money down. So we've got a great runway. It doesn't mean we're going to take the full time to spend it, but it just gives us a little bit more breathing room as we go into this year and the future.
Is the county allowed to do what the state?
It is done in terms of holding some in reserve.
So my understanding is that they put the revenue, the excess revenue they received over the last fiscal year, that went into the rainy day fund, the $2.5 billion. But we're not able to do that with American Rescue Plan money. We can't put the money into a rainy day fund and just keep it there in perpetuity. We would have to spend it again by 2026.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Okay. Anything else to come before us before we look to adjourn?
Absolutely. I want to welcome Jillian,
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
our Tuesday morning
Yeah.
team.
That's right. That's right.
She's the newest member of our team, so I want to thank her for helping out.
Jill joined us a few months ago. It seems like yesterday, but it was a few months ago. And so this is, as we have her back, have these Tuesday meetings back. Yeah, welcome you here, Jill. So
This is her maiden
yeah,
voyage in the
absolutely,
life. In the life.
absolutely.
And she's a local. She went to State College Area High School along with my son Brian.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Okay, did not know that. Okay, there we go. Well, welcome Jill officially to the Tuesday meetings. All right. Anything else before we adjourn? Okay. We'd look for a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to adjourn at 10:53.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Thank you all very much. Thank you.